We are driving towards the foot of the Mount Kenya. We're actually going to see some farmers who are growing coffee in this part of Kenya. Coffee in Kenya largely was grown when it was introduced around 1896 in Kenya. Coffee was largely grown by the British. Those times is when Kenya was a British electorate. And so it's only the British who are growing coffee. Africans were not allowed to grow coffee. It was much later that they were allowed to grow coffee, but they had no power over it. They could not determine anything, and you could not cut coffee that was in your farm. In fact, coffee was a protected plant. It meant that if you ever cut any coffee bush that was in your farm, then you would be taken to jail because the British made it a protected crop. I think my interest in coffee came about because anytime I would visit countries outside Africa and I would buy coffee so expensively, then I was wondering why coffee is so expensive and yet our farmers are not getting good money for coffee. And then there were two different scenarios. The farmers are uprooting coffee because they are unhappy with it. But on the other side, coffee is very expensive. You can't afford to buy if you don't have money. So this gave me an interest, and I really wanted to really understand why this happens. We are driving to see a women coffee farmer who has a very good quality coffee without really hurting the environment and the life in the soil.
My name is Millicent. I'm a mother of 3 children. Me and my husband, we normally work on coffee. That's why you can see this coffee being like this, because I normally do it organically. I'm so proud because now through this one stem, I can get almost 50 kilograms. Before, I was getting 2 to 5 kilos. You can see I have a big difference on that. Now I'm getting a lot of money. Before, our life was so, we were not able even to educate our children, and we have our coffee. But by the time we come to know about organic coffee, our children now are learning smoothly in a very good school. Now I'm enjoying life because even I have a car. For manure, I don't hire any lorry to go for manure. I normally get it through my own lorry. I get it through this coffee. Now we are building another mansion. We have a very big farm. Our life changed since we started this organic coffee. This is my coffee from my farm, but I have never tasted my own coffee.
Farmers, immediately they harvest, have no connection at all with their coffee. And this is a story that must change. Farmers should go all the way from the farm to the cup. And any information in between, they should be part of the process because they own the coffee. It belongs to them.
We receive a lot of visitors come to see our farm. Now I'm proud.
Lily is an amazing lady, and she comes from this community, and she works with children and women in this community, including the farmers, and she has a lot of interest in coffee.
When I was in the farm, I look the secondary field of berry, but maize is look a few berry in this stem. It is almost empty because when I compare the coffee in this tree, it cannot fill or 2 kilos. This is a good tree, but I get it's only 3 kilos on this stem.
Thing, you know, you have to start from here, and you see it's still sunaona ni ngumu bado, you know.
These two eventually will become the main plants, the main crop.
We need the rain here, but this year we don't have a rain.
Yes.
That is means when berry was in coffee, because of this summer, they do not succeed to grow very well.
Okay. Now, my advice to you is that it's true there's a change in climate, because the climate is changing, and you have to also change your practices in farming. For example, if we have delayed rains or we have no rain, the best way to keep this is to mulch. And this will gradually reduce your amount of work in weeding. Because if you mulch, then the mulches will become food for the living life in the soil. They will keep your soil moist. They will actually leverage on the temperature, and so it will help you in making your coffee green even when there is no rain.
Alice, this is a new way of planting coffee. You dig a hole 2.5 feet by 2.5 feet. You see it's wide enough. It will be able to retain enough nutrients for the growth of the coffee. It's also able to retain enough water. So always your coffee will not lack water. Always remember to separate the topsoil from the soil from the ground. That soil is very fertile.
I was privileged to have gone to Millicent Farm in Mount Kenya. To start with, we have the maize tubers.
This one.
Which is, it has to be the dry matter, like this. It has grass, dry grass, which has to go down to the hole to make the soil, which is underground, to be softer for the roots to go deeper. This is the manure from the cow dung. We mix the topsoil plus the manure inside the hole. This manure is not the fresh from the animals. This one has overstayed for some time. It will be safe for the coffee. It will help the roots to look for its own. You don't have to compact it again very hard. I've planted more than 10,000 coffee plants, and I've never tasted coffee from my farm or even from the farms which I've helped people plant. I dream of the day I'll taste the coffee from my farm. We normally inherit the land from our parents, which we will pass it on to the new generation. It will be my happiness as a farmer to again pass the same knowledge to my children so that we can have a sustainable and prosperous family out of coffee.
There has been a very big drop in coffee production in the country, and the reason is that farmers are no longer happy growing coffee because it's not able to support them well. They are not able to get income out of this. So over years, Kenya has dropped from production of coffee, and so that is the big worry because this is a crop that is out there. Farmers know that it fetches a lot of money, but the same money isn't coming to them as farmers, and so they cannot take their children to school. They cannot have very good medical cover. They cannot buy good clothes. They cannot eat good food. And yet they grow one of the crops that move around the world big time.
What is this?
This is a sauteed.
Then I didn't know that.
And you
You are aware that from the colonial time, coffee was like a state crop. So the farmers, their work was to plant, grow coffee and hand over to the government. So that caused the disconnect. They are not able to use their coffee. They are only producing coffee for other people's use. And that's why this connection that talk is bringing is very important.
I work with women, and these women also grow coffee, and they do not drink that coffee. So I have a great challenge to try and get our women to enjoy the coffee, since coffee is a great tasting drink. This tool is called a gourd. It's used to make milk called mursik, which is a traditional drink in our community. We use charcoal to flavor the milk, but I have this challenge to use coffee to flavor our milk.
And then you will pour everything.
So we want to reintroduce coffee into our communities, and we want to enjoy it in traditional drinks like in yogurt and in mursik. Many cups. Yes?
I prefer the coffee. Coffee makes me happy, and having to consume coffee which is organically grown with no chemicals, I'll be more happier. At the same time, by growing this coffee using the organic method, it means we don't have any toxic in our farms. It means our soil will be healthy. We will also be healthy. Our trees will be healthy. Our water will be healthy. Everything will be healthy. And this one means a generation with no more diseases caused by inorganic fertilizers being used in our farms. It is the best thing that we ever done, and we dream to be a union milling organically produced coffee. We are also going to integrate and get as many cooperatives adopting the organically grown coffee. And this will be the most important thing. It is going to save us, our environment. At the same time, even it is going to save the pollution of our rivers. Remember, in Lake Victoria, we have the water hyacinth, and this is as a result of use of synthetic fertilizer at the upper zone.
We are able to bring a change. And for Kenya, what a wonderful opportunity to grab the new business model. Multinational industries producing the products in the world, many of them put profit first. And they don't care about people. They care less. From where we are, with a simple mindset shift, we can become leaders and not needy people who are going to look for services somewhere else. But the only thing I need to do is to tap that potential and be able to change my status. We can stop this migration, seeing our people dying in the Mediterranean Sea in search of better life, living a country full of rain, a country full of minerals, a country full of natural resources, running to other places where things are not as good as where they come from. This is why we are talking about people first, environment, and shared prosperity.